Along the cold northern coast of Maine there is a lonely and forgotten place called Grayson Point. The coastline there is rough and dangerous, filled with tall black rocks rising from the dark ocean water. Powerful waves crash against the cliffs day and night, and a constant wind moves through the area like a low, endless whisper. Few tourists visit this part of the coast, and most locals prefer to stay far away from the cliffs once the sun goes down. At the very edge of those cliffs stands an old abandoned tower known as Harper Lighthouse. Long ago, the lighthouse guided ships safely through the dangerous coastal waters. For decades sailors depended on its powerful beam to avoid the sharp rocks hidden beneath the waves. But 40 years ago a violent storm struck the coast. Lightning damaged the electrical system of the lighthouse, and after that night the tower was officially closed. Since then the lighthouse has remained empty. Or at least that is what people believe. The strange stories began several years after the lighthouse was abandoned. Fishermen sailing late at night reported seeing the lighthouse beam turning slowly across the ocean even though the tower had no electricity. Sometimes the light appeared for only a few minutes before disappearing again. Other times it remained shining for hours. But the light was not the most frightening part. Over the years several visitors who explored the lighthouse late at night were never seen again. Search teams found abandoned cameras, backpacks, and even footprints leading into the tower, but they never found the missing people. Because of these events, most locals now refuse to go near Harper Lighthouse after sunset. Many of them believe the lighthouse is not truly empty. And some fishermen say the lighthouse does something even stranger. They say it calls people by their names. Emily Carter was a 24-year-old documentary filmmaker from Boston. She loved exploring mysterious places and filming strange stories that most people were too afraid to investigate. Her videos about haunted locations had slowly gained attention online, and she was always searching for new places that could make a truly unforgettable documentary. One evening Emily discovered an online discussion about Harper Lighthouse. Several users claimed the lighthouse sometimes turned on by itself. One comment mentioned that people had heard whispers inside the tower calling their names. For Emily, that was enough to spark her curiosity. "This place sounds perfect," she told her team during a video call. Her small crew included 3 close friends who had worked with her before. Ryan Walker was the cameraman who handled most of the filming. Lena Brooks managed the audio equipment and recording devices. Mark Dalton drove their van and handled the technical gear. Within a few days the group packed their equipment and began driving north toward Maine. The long road trip took almost 8 hours. As they left the busy highways behind, the roads became smaller and the towns more distant from each other. Pine forests stretched across the hills, and the ocean slowly appeared in the distance. Ryan looked out the window as the gray sky darkened above them. "This place already feels creepy," he said. Emily smiled slightly. "That's exactly why it's perfect for the documentary." Before going to the lighthouse, they stopped at a small roadside diner in a nearby fishing village. The diner looked old but welcoming, with warm lights shining through the windows. Inside, a few fishermen sat quietly drinking coffee after a long day at sea. Emily approached the counter politely. "Excuse me," she said, "could someone tell us how to reach Harper Lighthouse?" The reaction was immediate. The room fell silent. One of the older fishermen slowly turned his chair toward them. "You planning to go there tonight?" he asked. Emily nodded. "Yes, we're filming a documentary." The fisherman studied the group carefully before speaking again. "You shouldn't stay there after dark." Ryan chuckled quietly. "Let me guess, ghost stories?" The fisherman did not laugh. Instead he leaned closer and spoke in a low voice. "People hear voices there." Lena looked curious. "What kind of voices?" "The kind that know your name." Mark raised an eyebrow. "That's a good legend." But the fisherman continued staring at them seriously. "If the lighthouse calls your name, he said slowly, "Don't answer." The group thanked him for the directions and returned to their van. As they drove away, Ryan laughed. That guy really tried to sell the horror story. Emily looked back toward the village. "Maybe," she said quietly, "but we'll find out tonight." By the time they reached Grayson Point, the sun had already disappeared behind thick clouds. The wind grew stronger as they drove along the narrow road leading toward the cliffs. Then they saw it. Harper Lighthouse stood tall against the dark sky like a silent guard watching over the ocean. Its windows were broken, and the white paint had faded to gray after years of storms. Mark parked the van near the edge of the cliff. Ryan turned on the camera. Emily stood in front of the lighthouse while the wind blew around them. Tonight, she began speaking to the camera, "We are investigating Harper Lighthouse, a place connected to decades of unexplained disappearances and strange local legends." After finishing the introduction, the team gathered their equipment and walked toward the tower. The metal door at the base creaked loudly as they pushed it open. Inside, the air smelled damp and old. Dust covered the floor, and broken pieces of glass crunched under their shoes. A narrow spiral staircase twisted upward through the center of the tower, disappearing into darkness above. Emily switched on her flashlight. "Let's go to the top," she said. They began climbing the staircase. Their footsteps echoed through the empty tower. About halfway up, Lena suddenly stopped. "Wait." Everyone paused. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. At first there was nothing but the sound of the wind outside. Then a faint whisper drifted down from above them. "Emily." Emily slowly turned around. "Did someone just say my name?" Ryan shook his head. "That must have been the wind." But Lena looked uneasy. That sounded like a voice. They continued climbing until they finally reached the top room of the lighthouse. Ryan stepped inside first. Then he froze. "Guys, look at that." Emily walked in behind him and looked up. The lighthouse lamp above them was glowing. A powerful white beam slowly rotated across the ocean outside. Mark stared in disbelief. "That's impossible," he said. "There's no electricity here." While they were trying to understand what was happening, the whisper returned. This time it was louder. "Emily." The voice echoed softly through the room. Emily felt a cold chill run down her spine. Then another whisper followed. "Ryan." Ryan's grip tightened on the camera. Okay, that was definitely not the wind. Moments later another voice whispered Lena's name. It felt as if the lighthouse somehow knew they were there. Mark stepped backward nervously. "I really think we should leave." Before anyone could move, a loud metallic crash echoed through the tower. The metal door at the bottom slammed shut. At the same moment the spiral staircase below them fell into darkness. The lighthouse beam above them suddenly began spinning faster. The temperature inside the room dropped sharply. Ryan slowly aimed the camera toward the staircase. "Did you see that?" A shadow moved across the wall. But it moved against the direction of the lighthouse beam. Then they heard footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Coming up the staircase. Step. 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 Mark whispered nervously. "Someone's coming up." But the sound did not feel human. The breathing that followed was deep and unnatural. A tall figure slowly appeared at the top of the stairs. At first it looked like a tall man standing in the shadows. But when it stepped into the light, they realized something was terribly wrong. Its arms were too long. Its body thin and unnatural. Its skin pale like stone. And its face had no eyes. Only two empty dark holes. The creature tilted its head slowly. Then it spoke. "Emily." Its voice sounded like many whispers speaking at the same time. Emily stood frozen in place. The creature moved closer. "We've been waiting," it said. Ryan forced himself to speak. "For what?" The creature slowly raised one long finger and pointed toward the spinning lighthouse lamp. "This light," it whispered, "was never meant to guide ships." Emily swallowed nervously. "Then what is it for?" The creature smiled. "To guide lost souls." Suddenly hundreds of whispers filled the tower. Different voices calling different names. Ryan looked terrified. "All the missing people." Emily nodded slowly. "They came here." The creature stepped closer. "And now they stay." Mark suddenly grabbed a metal pipe from the floor. "Run!" He threw it toward the creature and pushed Ryan toward the staircase. They rushed down the spiral stairs as fast as they could. Behind them the whispers turned into loud screams. When they reached the bottom floor, the door was still locked. Ryan kicked the rusted metal again and again until it finally broke open. They ran outside into the storm and jumped into their van. Mark started the engine and drove away from the lighthouse as fast as possible. No one spoke during the drive. Far behind them the lighthouse beam continued spinning slowly across the dark ocean. The next morning police arrived at Harper Lighthouse after receiving a strange emergency call. Inside the tower they found broken filming equipment and a camera lying on the floor. But Emily and her friends were gone. The only clue was the final recording on the camera. In the video, Emily stood alone in the top room of the lighthouse. Her face pale. Her eyes empty. She slowly looked into the camera and whispered, "Can you hear it?" Behind her the lighthouse lights slowly turned on again. And faint whispers began calling new names. Waiting for someone else to answer.